Well, hello there, guys. This is Noob DM Ariel coming from you from Southern California this time. I have You have to excuse a couple of things. The light in here may not be optimal, um, and I'm a different setting because I'm in Southern California attending my cousin's wedding this coming Saturday, and so thought I'd get a bit out a little bit, couple of days earlier, and check out what is happening, what is in the news currently with our favorite role playing um, tabletop game, D&D. And the big news, one of the big news items, according to Polygon, this article from Polygon that is by Charlie Hall, just came out this morning, talking about how D&D, the next big event for D&D Dungeons and Dragons Direct event is going to reveal the future of D&D on April 21st, just a week from now. Um, what can we expect? We can expect news on related games, TV shows, and more, it says. So let's sort of dive in and see what's about. Actually, I'm finding out this for the first time. I was driving out for a couple of hours, just went out to get some eat and came back into the hotel now, um, and looking at what Wizards of the Coast is planning. So it says D&D publisher Wizards of the Coast will host a special streaming event on April 21st at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Let's see, the 21st is a Thursday, so a week from today, called D&D Direct. It's going to be approximately 30 minutes and will unveil upcoming products along with other announcements and updates, according to a news release. It's going to be broadcast live on both Twitch and YouTube. And this is they did something similar during the summer last year when they were talking about the future of the game and the future of the next edition, if they ever put one out. Didn't sound like sixth edition was on its way. Sounded more like they were tweaking some stuff for 5e. Um, but this one says that Wizards has a lot of irons in the fire at the moment, um, because they're also publishing Magic the Gathering. For their D&D brand, there's at least one new book on the way. It's called Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. I'm aware of that book, and if you follow the link, they did write about um, what that next book will be about. It's going to be an anthology of 13 adventures. So very similar to what we some of the anthologies that we've seen before, um, like they did one where it was a bunch of first edition adventures, and then there was um, Tales from the Yawning Portal, and the Forgotten Realm setting, which is the default D&D setting. But the difference with this one, it's going to be penned exclusively by Black and Brown authors. It says, titled "Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel," it will add a mysterious new floating city to the original RPG. The book will be available on June 21st. So it sounds like another one of those um, books collecting a bunch of short adventures. They're not my favorite style, to be honest with you. So I don't know if I'm excited about that or not. But it is the first project penned entirely by Black and Brown authors in the franchise's nearly 50-year history, it says. There's also a major um, motion picture starring Chris Pine with Bridgerton's Rajan Page. I don't know if I'm saying that Rajan Page. Fast and the Furious Michelle Rodriguez, and Paddington 2's Hugh Grant. So then there's the video games, which is the Baldur's Gate 3, which is still in early access. I'm still playing Baldur's Gate original and Baldur's Gate 2, but they're coming out with Baldur's Gate 3, and also a third-person open world game is on the way. On Wednesday, Wizards parent company Hasbro announced it had acquired D&D Beyond. This was something that I saw coming, because they're getting more and more into the digital arena, and it's been reported in many outlets. It's basically the most popular digital tool set. Other people use Roll20, and there's a few other ones out on the market. Not all that hyped up about D&D Beyond or the digital tool sets. I'm still looking for an online campaign to join, but I think I'm going to stick to Discord or yeah, either Zoom or Discord. Discord seems to work pretty well. Um, it's only if you want to have run some like one shots where there's a lot of combat and you wanna. There's some um, pluses to the digital tool sets, but it's just kind of not my cup of tea. Okay, so this acquisition of D&D Beyond comes on the heels of a banner year um, for Wizards of the Coast, which cleared 1 billion in sales for the first time in 2021. So there's no doubt that the D&D brand and IP is more popular than it's ever been before. Okay, guys. Now, before we head into the rest of the news or another article, I wanted to talk about I one question I get as a noob DM or just from people that want to get into 5e a lot is how do I find a group to play? And this was a problem even back before 5e became as popular it is now, and there are a lot of uh, both in person or yeah, after COVID has died down a little bit. There's more in person participation around the table, the traditional way of playing with other people, and there's also online um, avenues. One group that I uh, participate or have been a member for some time is the Meetup over at meetup.com, and you can start a membership there. And if you put in D&D, in this case, we're looking for Dungeons and Dragons meetups, and then we put in your, in this case, Southern California, the name of your city, and let's see what we get. So right off the bat, on Sunday, we're gonna have Pacific Standard Time, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, the Dungeons and Dragons one shots. This is in Pasadena, and it's a nice way to get some information on some places where you can play with other people if you don't have other a group of your buddies that you want to uh, get together with. So it looks like this is at a store called Odyssey Games. I think I've actually been when I went to check out the Tournament of Roses parade, the floats after the parade earlier this year. I did walk by this place, so I think I know exactly what this place is, and it's been there for a while. So the details is they do D&D one shot. If you happen to be in SoCal and you are around on Sundays, they do the one shot Sundays from 1 to 5:30 every week, and you can add yourself to your calendar. The details of that one is it's open to all levels of players. They run multiple tables of single session adventures. Whether it's your first one or if you have a lot of experience, your 100th, and then you have to. Um, so far, they only have one person attending, which is the organizer. So they need more players. What you will need is a D&D character, a set of dice, and a willingness to have fun. So the way this thing works is you usually click on sign up, and Warhorn is the one that I've seen people use a lot. It's basically like a online calendar schedule program, and so it looks like they've been running it on Sundays and Wednesdays. This week coming up, they have a Wednesday game. Well, Wednesday the 20th looks pretty good. They have like three tables, and then they have a table on Sunday. Um, Kids on Bikes is a different thing, but they have Pathfinder. So let's see. Now I'm not a big Pathfinder player. I never really played it, but Pathfinder is like an RPG that it's in second edition, so they're looking for second edition Pathfinder players. Doesn't look like they have anybody for Sunday so far. Let's look at Wednesday, the 20th, coming up this next week. So they'll have a 7 to 11. So this is a night game where they have Wednesday night. So um, this is a D&D Adventures League, which is basically a Wizards of the Coast, kind of like where they run their the official products. And that one has one player signed up with a room for five more. Um, which is a possibility. And then they have another table for levels 5 to 10. So they split it up into different levels. And they have 6 players here. Um, and one game master confirmed. 6 players and one game master confirmed. You know, I don't know. A 7 to 11 game is a little bit kind of late for my um, and they're full. So no, wait, I'm sorry. They're still open for this week, the 20th. Tier one, level 1 to 4. Uh, the 7 o'clock game. Same thing for uh, the two. They have two level 1s to 4, and then they have a Beyond 10 Towns, which is a level 5 to 10 campaign on Wednesday the 20th at 7 o'clock. So that's the Warhorn for that. Let's see what else we have here. That's the one shots that they're having in Pasadena. But are there more? So then they have these listings for these online games. Like for example, if you see this online event, that's usually means that obviously that's an online playing by Discord or using Zoom or using some kind of tabletop program like Roll20. So they're running Eberron Goes to Saltmarsh Sunday the 24th at 5:30. And then they also have some on Saturday the 23rd. That's next week, next weekend. So they have 5 spots left in that one, which is really nice because it gives you how many spots there are. Now the thing with this one though, there's one coming up on Sunday. That's on this Sunday at 1 o'clock, which is the Storm King's Thunder. They have one open seat and 4 people guaranteed or signed up already. But the things with these ones that I'm not too partial on is that they usually charge for these. They're not free. Most of the a good host of these are free, but some of the ones in like really prime um, peak time or these are put together by the D&D Club of LA, which is a big RPG community. Um, and as you can see, they're running Storm King's Thunder with one open seat, but it's gonna run you $18 to just to get a spot to attend online. Which for me it's not such a big like I don't think I would spend like $20 or nearly $20 on online campaign when I could probably find a game for free. But some people may not have that option, and some people don't really mind paying um, a fixed amount for their entertainment. For example, the new Spider-Man movie that came out. Spider-Man was on the theaters for a short amount of time because of COVID, and it premiered online, but you got to spend like $20 to see that movie. So, I mean, some people have. So it's really up to you what you want to do with your entertainment and how much you want to spend. And just out of curiosity, I'm gonna check to see if they have um bullets, if they have other California meetups for D&D that people can join. No, it looks like it's kind of the same thing. So most of these are online through Meetup, um, and most of them will be if they're being run by the LA group, the LA club, they're gonna run you some money. So anyway, Meetup is available, so that's one option that you can at least use to find some groups for gaming if you don't really have players ready and available in your area to do so. Okay, here we have a story by the Frederick News Post. I'm not 100% sure where Frederick is. I think it's in Maryland, but don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. But this one is about a local game store. They're hosting dedicated LGBT Dungeons and Dragons nights. Um, and it's a really interesting story. One thing that I did experience playing with my fifth edition friends over at the Lower Lake store in Northern California is that there was all kinds of ages. Were a lot of young people there, like high school age, but there were also college age, and but spans the gamut, like older people as well. So one of the DMs was my age, and an older gentleman that was playing a druid, looked like he was in his 60s. So you have all kinds of ages, all kinds of walks of life, people from different walks of lives, and I did notice that they were very um, creative. That's the right word. Very creative in the way they put together the narratives and the stories. And as a form of expression, it was really freeing for people to do that. Um, this talks about how, um, it kind of explains to people that don't know what D&D is, what it is. So a lot of people already know. But if you don't know, you can read about it. Um, uh, if you're a reader of this newspaper or online newspaper, then or online edition of the paper, so it talks about what D&D adventures are like. It gives like a sample of a 15-year-old high school student who was given a quest, and it sort of talks about what he's doing in the game. It says Rosencrantz, Mo Rosencrantz was a 15-year-old Urbana high school student, was a dungeon master, and just one of many people at the LGBT D&D night on April 1st, a collaboration between the local game show Saga Games, where the event takes place, and the Frederick Center. Um, and then he talks about the history of D&D. Over the years, the game's popularity has grown significantly, with a significant sense of community growing around the hobby. And then people talk about their experiences being both um, LGBT members of the LGBT community as well as gamers. Just by being open, just by having a face that isn't the same as what you normally see, we get a lot of women and members of the community who come in and say, "Oh my goodness, there's someone else here." Hall said. It makes it a more friendly and inviting space to be in because you're not alone. Um, Hall, from her own experiences and from those told to her by some of her female customers, said there have historically been issues in the hobby gaming community of accepting people who are not men. That's just used to be like gaming overall, where it was mostly a milieu or the domain of like men or male players, but that's no longer the case. We have a number of gamers in both RPGs as well as other forms of gaming that are women, are female. We get so many women in the store who are just like, I've been in some places and everyone um, turns around and looks at me, Hall said. When you come into our store, no one is going to ask you, are you buying this for your boyfriend or your husband? We're going to assume you're there for you, which is a huge change in some people's mindset. I feel. Um, Lori Costitu, a program director for the Frederick Center, said Saga's focus on inclusivity made it a perfect partner for the LGBT advocacy organization. While Kasuto said they hadn't been a player of D&D previously, they've seen the way it allows for the players to explore self-expression. And whenever I read these type of stories, I always worry that there's going to be backlash, and there invariably is from some people that are narrow-minded or that feel that somehow a community is trying to co-opt. Same for comics. I've seen it in all across the gamut in geek culture, but that somehow a community such as the LGBT community is trying to co-opt their favorite hobbies or somehow diluting it by you know a bunch of nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's people that are closed-minded that feel that they have to be gatekeepers. And coming from an industry, my communications industry, we had a whole different definition for what a gatekeeper was. But I was instructed by some people and what that means within this specific context, where gatekeeping doesn't mean that there's an agency that's barring you from having access to like somebody you want to write about or somebody you want to, profile, but more, um, or like a public official, for example, but more in the sense that gatekeeping from people that feel so invested and so attached to a specific hobby, but they somehow feel threatened by the fact that there's new people playing it, or that people are playing it, or that there are a community that they may not be all that familiar with, or may have reservations about, or somehow think that the community is trying to co-opt, trying to invade their space, which is really weird to me, but that's how some people think about it. But back to this game night. Um, Rosencrantz is the DM of the dedicated youth table at LGBT D&D nights, and he said getting to the hobbies has helped him meet some great people, especially those in the community. It's great. I've been DMing for a little while, he said, referring to the act of running the game as a dungeon master. I often find that queer people are some of the best people to play with. It's just been really nice to find a community within the community. So if a young person um, finds a safe space, like in a game store, for example, or a specific night dedicated to the community that he or she, um, they, whatever, whoever are a part of, what is wrong with that? I don't think that there's really anything threatening, or if you play your game with your friends and you want to run a specific flavor of, because there's also that, unfortunately, there's a lot of these uh, edition wars still happening, where people say, no, no, 5e is not that great. I'd rather play OSR games and second edition, including myself. I mean, I do prefer some of the older versions, but I have an open mind and I gave 5e a try. And I don't think it's, you know, I don't think it's as, it has some mechanical problems that I see, but they can be tweaked. And I've talked about this in other videos and other instances where I say that if you have a game master that can put in the work, you're not necessarily married to the some of those new mechanics. You can do whatever you want and incorporate some of the mechanics that you like from older edition. I have a whole video on that. You can go on this channel and take a look at that. And so that's a way to mitigate that problem in some people's mind, and to make 5e fun for everyone. Um, it's definitely nice to feel welcome, they said, some of these board members that started playing the game 5 years ago. Um, in society, it's very easy to not feel welcome almost anywhere you go. But if you look, you can see the signs of being accepted here and there, whether it's just a flag in the window or a sticker, or just having events like this. So I can see how, and this article was written by Pat Kernan. You can follow Pat on Twitter if you want, at Pat Kernan, with some contributions to the article to Mary Grace Keller. I always like to give credit where credit is due, and those are the authors of the article. But I feel um, that the more people are being included, the better. And I think that if people find a safe space, I think the problem is a lot of people say, well, they're using this just to advocate for X, or they're advocates of X and Y, but they don't really care about Z. Where in reality, why can't it be all of it? Why can't they advocate for, inclusive spaces of safety, while at the same time having fun? They have the tools. The tools are there for anybody to use it. And I mentioned that the people that have a problem with the new edition versus the OSR, and sort of bring up the edition wars where the earlier versions were better. I do prefer some of the mechanics in the earlier versions. I have said that before, but the more and more I play, it reminds me of two things. Um, and I've said this before, but I think it bears again. I think the most fun I ever had was playing fourth edition, even before 5e came out, in Texas, with a game master that was so creative that he saw the limitations of that game system, which was not popular at all, but he brought in a lot of preparation and used a lot of second edition modules and just tweaked them for his own campaign. And you could tell he put the preparation in, and you could tell that it was going to be a fun campaign every single week. And that's why the players kept coming back. And I think there was something that everybody looks for. It's the synergy and that magic of being around a group of people, and everybody clicks and everybody's having fun and everybody's contributing to the story. Everybody's contributing to the gameplay, and so the mechanics become secondary. So you can be playing fourth edition or fifth edition or basic. It doesn't matter what you're playing, as long as you're having fun and as long as the DM has a handle on the situation by preparing. a good adventure, including everybody's point of view and everybody's contribution. So anyway, that's my soapbox. But I read these stories and they encourage me in the sense that I think D&D is going in the right direction. And one last thing is, it does bring to mind something that Gary Gygax wrote in one of I think it was on the original DM's guide, and even back in the basic modules where he talked about how the rules as written, or the raw, as we like to call them, the raw guides are just guides. They're not written in stone. So you can tweak them as much as you want because the game from the very beginning was meant to be malleable and flexible. And so if your DM wants to tweak, add some new mechanics or change some of the existing mechanics, as long as everybody has a say and are on the same page, I don't think that's a huge problem, and I don't think that it gets in the way of people's fun and the ultimate goal of um, being both inclusive and having a great time playing a game that everybody loves.